So a lot happened in Apothecary Diaries on this episode, and the biggest thing is they had to transform this guy into this guy. The key was to make him as less beautiful as possible, and honestly, Maomao did a really good job of putting her heart and soul into actually changing him from looking like he's a noble to someone that is, from the countryside, maybe hasn't bathed as much as he normally does, doesn't have incense. Because at first she thought her job was to give him makeup, but then she realized, wait a minute, just giving him makeup is not going to be enough for him to look like a regular citizen, a commoner, if you will. So there was a lot that had to be done. I mean, they even got cotton balls in his cheeks. They ended up she gave him some type of drink that's supposed to change his vocal cords, almost like his throat's burning a lot. I mean, there was a whole lot of stuff they did and really transformed him to not be as beautiful, if you will. But of course, that didn't mean that Maomao couldn't have her fun with things. Of course, she wanted to mess around with Jinshi and puts on some makeup on him to make him look more feminine, which kind of was hilarious, especially the way he looked here, as well as the expression that everyone gave him. Now, of course, she's like, yeah, let's scratch that, and changed his makeup to be something totally different, make him more of a commoner. And it just was probably one of the funniest moments in this episode. But the key is, even though she did a lot of time in the episode to change Jinshi, and Jinshi's natural idea and role, as he said, he was meeting up with someone to discuss and talk about a matter, if you will. He didn't really tell Mama what he was doing, why he was trying to be a commoner. Although we know it's because of his discussion with Lacken and what they discussed as far as making a courtesan lose their value. In this regard, instead of him actually meeting with someone, which I honestly don't even know if he actually had a meeting to begin with, that if that was not an excuse just to kind of be out in the town and spend time with Maomao, that he just ended up asking her when the time came. Now, Maomao did get the wrong idea at one point. Now, as they're out and about in the town, and yes, they kind of disguise Maomao a little bit, which their disguise of Maomao was pretty much making her look beautiful, as always, which honestly, having Maomao look amazing is, I just love those episodes because she naturally tries to lower her value, even though she herself is absolutely gorgeous. Now, they go out about a town and he's supposed to go meet up with someone to discuss the whole losing value as a courtesan, when honestly, he went to where they were going to the address and she's like, oh, so that's what it is. He's going to a pleasure house, or he's going to a brothel. And it looked like it was a low value brothel. And she's like, why didn't he just go to the pleasure house where she normally comes from if he wanted to spend time with a lady, if you will? And she kind of gets the wrong idea there. But then Jinshi just kind of on the side of the street is like, look, okay, question. One, he's asking her, can she divulge people that actually come to the pleasure house that she actually was working at? And she's like, no, there's confidentiality. I can't really say anything. And then he's like, okay, then how does one lose value? And this face that comes over Maomao instantly was like, oh, wow. This strikes a nerve. It kind of suspects the fact that something happened to her mother, but instead of Maomao getting mad or anything about it, she just divulges the information that he's asking for. How the girls work hard to gain value, and what will lower the value pretty much is be taken advantage of, and then they would literally have no value if they become pregnant. Which we are learning, this episode was all about learning. Everyone was learning about everybody. Maomao learned a lot about Jinshi through two different things. One, look at his hands, she's like, oh, that's weird that he has calluses because he works with a sword or a polearm. Learning he had some military experience when he's had the chicken that was on a stick but he's had it when he was at camp. So she's like, oh, that's interesting. A eunuch is not supposed to be able to do that stuff, or they wouldn't normally be going out and about and actually be at a military camp. Now, of course, Jinshi learns more about her and her father, her adoptive father, as she pretty much tells Jinshi everything about him and how he's a eunuch that's traveled abroad, that knows about medicine, Eastern and Western practices. And Jinshi's started thinking like, huh. And you can kind of tell where he's starting to make the connections that, wait, he wouldn't have all these abilities to do all this stuff if he wasn't tied to the palace at some point. So Jinshi's really thinking about this, but in the middle of him thinking about this, that's when they arrive at their destination and they start discussing other things. So Jinshi's learning more about Maomao's world and her family and such, while Maomao's learning about Jinshi and his past. I've always said I don't think Jinshi is a eunuch. If the emperor has planted Jinshi and one of his jobs is to be so beautiful to disrupt women and girls to, one, not do their jobs right, or two, if any of them are supposed to be the concubines to the emperor, yet they're dissuaded by Jinshi, he's supposed to have his member, right? He can't just be a eunuch and not have the tool that's kind of vital to that job. Now, I guess you could say that, yes, they would cut it off so then that way he's not squirrely and he actually pounces upon any of these girls. But the opposite could be true, for the girls to be like, okay, if he has that, then maybe I do need to pursue him. I don't know. I've always kind of felt like the show has kind of led me to believe that he doesn't, or he's not a eunuch, but he still portrays as if he is one, which kind of is like, he has a secret background. There's more to Jinshi than meets the eye. Now, granted, I don't know what that is at this moment in time, but they do talk about stuff that would be like, huh, this is very interesting that his job and what he's supposed to do, whether it's the real job or the secretive job. Because of Lakin, he asks her these questions. You could tell these aren't questions that she really wants the answer. I don't know if she'll think less of him, as if this is what he wants to do to someone, but I have the feeling that this is what happened to Maomao's mother, because of course we haven't seen Maomao's mother. There was maybe a hint of her in a flashback in one of like the second episode or so that maybe was about her, but they kind of inferred as if Lakin might be Maomao's father. Don't know if that's true or not, and that would definitely be a pretty interesting announcement that if they did do that. But next week's episode is literally called Lakin and shows him discussing with Jinshi once again, and Jinshi's even more ticked off whenever he's in the company of Lakin. So there's a lot to see, discuss, and probably get some backstory here shortly about maybe Maomao, Jinshi, or even Lakin himself. So I'm really looking forward to what's going down. But all I know is there's a lot of little side funny moments here with Maomao, Jinshi, and even their bodyguard I say loosely, that's supposed to be watching over them. Regardless, great episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it and hope you guys enjoy this analysis. We'll be back for more next week as we take a look at this show that still continues to be really good. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. And make sure you guys comment down below what you guys think. Please, no spoilers. But I would love to hear what you guys think or say about the show, because it's amazing and I'm enjoying every moment of it. Be safe, take care, bye for now. Make sure to check out the extra content on our Patreon page, and thanks to our current patrons.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.